What about it? What's wrong with it?
Well, no, you're just seated so forward. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Steffens.
And I'm Charles Gerlando, and welcome to Game Over, the show that tells you if you're writing in for advice and it starts with, you know, I really love my boyfriend, but you're in denial, right? That's really
might be a cause for Game Over.
It might be. Today we got a really cool show, though, right?
You know, I love the topic of today's show, and I'm just going to start us off by telling Mr. Orlando, you look very fetching today.
Why, thank you very much. I'm wearing all black. Here, should I do
Model.
Do a little turn?
Work it. Own it. Now, we're not doing that for just shits and giggles. We're doing that as a demonstration of today's topic.
And it is. And today's topic is?
Foreplay.
Foreplay. Not 5-play, not 3-play. Foreplay.
I don't know where the origin of that word comes from. You don't really use 4 digits for me. Well, I'm just saying.
Well, it depends on the show, right?
Right.
But that's a different show, for sure.
So let's start off by defining for our fabulous viewers what we're talking about with foreplay, because sometimes people think it just means one little thing.
Well, it means a lot of different things, right? And it's a combination of mental and physical and emotional connection.
Yeah, all of those things.
And so many guys get it wrong, where...
And women too.
But, you know, walking up to your girl and saying, you know, how about a little? Like, that's not foreplay.
How about the nudge behind you while you're washing dishes?
Oh.
Now, I actually consider that foreplay.
Depends on what they're poking you with, right?
It's all good. But so what we're talking about is a lot of times, both in new relationships and in relationships that you've been in for a long time, the foreplay either is not communicated about what people need in the beginning, or over time the foreplay just goes away and you want to just get to it. Now, I'm a fan for that occasionally, but let's talk about why foreplay is important.
Well, foreplay is important for a lot of reasons, and you know, we're talking about...
This is our iPad. We've got notes here.
Yeah, we've got notes,
yeah.
and we've got notes.
We're thorough. We're thorough because we want to give you the best Game Over advice and resources and tools and tips and advice. So I think I said advice twice.
But foreplay is different. But foreplay is different depending on whether you're talking about dating or marriage. I mean, it is the same, but it is slightly different.
So let's start with dating scenarios.
So with dating
scenarios.
See, but foreplay and dating, I would bet for a lot of people who are at the beginning of a relationship is a lot easier, meaning that it comes very naturally because it's new, it's unexplored, and
But here's where it does become challenging is when you're dating, and I find this especially for women. Women are not always excellent at communicating their needs because they don't want to rock the boat and they don't want to piss anybody off and they just want them to like her. So a lot of times we forget to communicate what we like, and so if they're skipping from kiss to sticking it in, they've missed a lot of bases.
You mean a kiss by itself isn't foreplay?
Well,
I've been screwing it up all this time.
Depends on how you kiss.
I apologize.
But so, again, foreplay is about communication because your partner needs to know what gets you excited, what gets your juices flowing, ladies, am I right? And it's that mental, it's that emotional, and it's that physical stimulation.
Well, and everybody has a different thing that they like, but oftentimes a lot of it starts really similar, right? I mean, there's that look from across the room. There's that text message that comes in at lunchtime where, you know, you start the process way before you're actually in front of them and everybody's got their clothes off. I mean, that's not foreplay.
Like, so that's part of foreplay, but kissing is where kissing is just a delicious part of foreplay. But you're right. It starts with the communication throughout the day, the connection throughout the day.
Right.
Really helping your partner be seen and heard and feel sexy, feel pretty, feel handsome, feel wanted.
Sure. Well, and that's where some of the separation comes in, because when dating is happening, I mean, there's no pressure. Everything's very escape driven. It's very fun. It's very free.
Mm-hmm.
With a
new.
Well, yeah, you've got dopamine running through your system. It's got all this great stuff.
It's all on people.
But with a long-term relationship, a lot of those things get lost, where you have she may not be in the mood when you first get home from work and she's got baby throw up on her arm, right? Like, that's not, there's nothing there.
Well, in the busyness of life, when you get into a committed relationship, the busyness of life, you kind of start seeing through the other person a lot of the time, because you're like, you're kind of in my way as I'm going through my day, and I'll talk to you tonight.
Right.
And without those moments, those like moments of connection, those moments of like really saying, I'm with you throughout the day, in whatever way, not in a creepy way, I promise. It's hard to come and be connected and all of a sudden be in the foreplay mood when you haven't felt appreciated or supported or communicated with earlier in the day.
Sure. Well,
because we bring all that back, don't we, ladies? Yes, we do.
Well, and men do too. I mean, for women out there who think, no, my man's just not emotionally connected, he's either completely connected with you and he's just not admitting it. That has to do with vulnerability.
Vulnerability is key.
Or he's just going through the motions, and women are guilty of that too, where you end up just like commutes and, I mean, to your point, commutes and kids and babies and work and laundry and
bills,
dishes and all this stuff.
And he didn't clean up after himself. That never actually happens in my house because I'm the messy one. But yes, so the everyday life shit, for lack of a better term. It's not that it's bad, but it's just always there.
Right.
So how do you reignite the desire and the communication about foreplay when you're in a long-term relationship?
Well, sometimes it's challenging, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that newness of the relationship has worn off, and you have to start putting in some real effort in. But
you can ignite the spark, though.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the stuff that we're talking about is not insurmountable, not even close. But it takes a combination of things.
Yes.
And it's what we've described at the beginning before. I mean, for some women, I wrote this yesterday on my Facebook page. For some women, I mean, foreplay is when he does the dishes without being asked, or he takes out the trash, right? And part of that is real. What we're really describing is effort, though, right? You put an effort in.
Well, you want to feel like you're not the only one putting the effort in, and you want to feel like you're getting your needs met, right? That's really what it comes down to when you're in a long-term relationship. Because the romance comes, the romance goes, the butterflies come, the butterflies go, but it's that everyday cohabitation. How do you feel satisfied on a daily basis in a long-term relationship? And if you're not in a long-term relationship, no, long-term relationships are not the death of everything, but it just takes a different effort because of the changes that happen in your relationship, and the newness does wear off.
So the first thing you have to do is, if you're not getting what you want from foreplay, from the passion that exudes out of both of you, it's supposed to in a relationship, you have to acknowledge that to yourself, right? And it's not going to fix itself, so you have to look at it for what it is.
Well, acknowledge it and ask yourself, what is it here that I need? Mm-hmm. So don't just be like, there's a big fat problem and it's his fault or her fault. It's about acknowledging what is the need that's not getting met.
Right.
That's the first step.
So you admit that to yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then if you don't know what you're doing, or you don't know what your partner wants,
or you don't know what you want,
then
maybe you're new at these things.
Well, educate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Books. I mean, there's books. Don't use porn. Porn is because unless you want to be taught how foreplay for a woman is where you take the clitoris and you take your hand and go. Then that's porn education.
Well, there's a time and a place for that, but that's not every day.
Or foreplay is when you knock on the door and you go, "Hi, pizza delivery." That's foreplay.
Oh,
in a
what's
porn.
in that hot box?
I clearly watch too much porn.
I'm just curious about what's in the hot box. So you really want to be finding the right books and the right experts. We're here every day for you. So if you got questions, definitely submit them, because we're going to get to them in the second half.
Sure, but you also want to communicate your needs.
Yes.
I mean, so a lot of people feel that that's too honest and it's too vulnerable.
And the risk factor is too scary.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I can't.
Laughed at.
Yeah. Oh my God, what if they say no? What if they tell me I'm stupid or wrong? And if they tell you you're stupid or wrong partner, game over.
Right? Totally.
Yeah.
But you have to talk about it. I mean, if you're in a long-term relationship and you haven't put out your needs in bed across the board,
you're probably not putting out. So.
Well, see what happens on this show.
I just make little links to things that aren't really there.
But you have... Go ahead.
Well, communicating your needs is key. And again, I know this goes for both men and women, but I'm going to talk to the ladies for a minute. Ladies, knowing how to please yourself and knowing what gets you hot and excited both in and out of the bedroom is the first step, so you can then communicate to your man how to better please you. And here's the other thing. You also want to know how you can please your partner. This isn't a one-way street. Right.
Well, now I'll just talk to the guys. So
yes, gentlemen.
No listening. No listening. So when it comes to the guys, right, the largest erogenous zone on a woman is her mind, okay? Unless she's connected to it mentally, all your efforts are going to go dead. So you have to... It's totally true. I mean, if she's not into it mentally, then she's not into it. So you need to be paying attention to that for sure. What are you doing and what are you not doing that she either likes or doesn't like? And, get your ego out of the equation. Women's bodies are similar, but they're not the same. So they're going to want different things.
One lady might like that slapping. Another lady might not.
And that's true. I've had people write in saying, I do like it slapped hard, and the harder the better.
Sometimes.
And great, but you got to be paying attention. If more men would treat foreplay like a scavenger hunt, where it changes all the time.
Hunter, like a video game.
Well, right,
Whatever it is you like, dudes, treat it like that.
And if she could just get an Xbox controller tattooed on the outside of her vagina, then 8 buttons and a joystick have a whole different meaning.
We have one button, but it is complicated. So the other thing is maintaining this effort in communication, because it's not a one-time thing. You will want to stay in continued communication about this, because your wants, your needs are going to change over time, possibly. But the other thing is, just because you have a conversation about it once doesn't mean you've got the problem, and I was going to say licked, but in this situation, we'll say solved. So it's about ongoing communication.
And it is, because everybody's bodies, wants, and needs change over time.
Yeah.
So.
And having that open dialogue so that you're staying in communication. It's not like, oh no, we had that conversation, we never have it again. It's like, hey baby, how am I doing with this? Am I meeting your needs? How's that going?
Would you say it like that too? And then, hey baby, how's it going? How you doing? How you doing? Is everybody on Jersey Shore?
I might say that way, depending on the role playing that day. Saying.
So, there you have it. If you have any other questions, we are definitely here for you. Done.
Or lit.
Done.
Whichever you decide.
Let me get to our sponsor for the day. Your Tango.
We love your Tango.
Love your Tango.
You rock.
Head over to yourtango.com. They've got really good advice over there. You know why?
They have... Why, Charles?
Well, we happen to be 2 experts that are sitting over at Your Tango as well. So,
it's true. And here's what I especially like about Your Tango. It really, regardless of what stage of relationship you're in, breakup, divorce, getting married, single, there is advice, there are resources, there are experts there to solve your issues, to help you, to give you advice, and I love that.
Yeah, great people.
So it's not just for singles, not just for marrieds, it's for all of us.
Yourtango.com or Facebook.com/yourtango.
Love that. Love you, Your Tango. Woohoo!
And now, as always on Game Over, the second half of the show is dedicated to offering you advice. If you have a question, head over to Facebook.com/theproblemismen. Click on the message button, and we get it live here.
We do.
Be patient, though. I have...
Charles has a lot of fans, and we get a lot of requests for advice. We will get to you. It may take us the rest of our lives.
Well, it may, but I answer a lot off the air. And so right now...
It's like that, ladies and gentlemen.
There's a few thousand requests there. I mean, there's 641,000 fans there. But I do get to you, and they're answered all personally. So I beg you and implore you to just be patient.
And I watch him, and he gets carpal tunnel doing it, so appreciate the efforts. That's all I'm saying.
Our first one.
All right, our first one is from W. Hi, W.
And we keep you anonymous.
Yeah, we like to keep things anonymous so you can feel really free to share exactly what's going on. So W says, I've been with my boyfriend for a year now, and last week he said he needs space.
Ah, space.
Space, the dreaded space word. He said he's stressed to the max, and we're constantly bickering about stupid things, and if we keep going on, he will end up hating me.
Oh, wow.
I said game over to that.
Right.
Last Thursday was their 1-year anniversary, and they did nothing. They didn't even see each other.
Well, they're getting space, right?
Right. Well, he says space means 0 contact, and she feels in limbo. Honey, I don't think
that's not space. That's a breakup.
He's basically too pussy to say, I want to break up, as far as I'm concerned.
Totally.
I know you miss him like crazy, and frankly, he didn't give you any kind of answers. He left you in limbo because he's a wuss.
It's, and I get a lot of these too. And W, my heart goes out to you. I mean, so here's the truth: it's game over.
It sucks.
Right? It's game over. He broke up with you without breaking up with you.
It would have been nice if he would have just freaking broken up with you, rather than saying, I'm going to hate you and then I need space and screw you.
But there's so many guys who do both sides of the relationship like this. Like, they start hanging out with her to the point where now they're dating by default.
Right.
Or it's over and they just stop hanging out with her and say, yeah, I just need some space, and then it's over.
Gentlemen.
And some ladies.
Well, let's talk to the gentleman right now. If you don't want to encounter a bitch in your next relationship, don't do this to a woman because she will become a bitch because she thinks there's something wrong with her. Just be a man and say it's over.
Just call it.
We can handle it. Yes, we will cry. Yes, we will throw things. We'll get over it.
It's tangible. Like
we'll get over it.
You leave her in limbo, and
W is a strong, confident woman, and she will get over this. Putting her in limbo is bullshit.
So W, here's the deal.
Yes.
Like, because he won't make the decision, sounds like you have to.
Well, it sounds like the decision's been made, and so now it's about getting okay with the decision.
Yeah. So game over.
Game over.
Let it go. And
there are fabulous men out there who won't do this.
See, but here's the trick, right? So a guy like this is keeping her quietly on this leash with limbo. So
bullshit.
As soon as you stop begging and pining and wondering,
back, honey.
He'll be back. He'll be one of the boomerang men.
So they have this amazing ability, these boomerang men, to sense when you're moving on. And that's when they reach out and they say,
"Baby, I miss you.
About you.
I've been thinking about you. What are you up to?"
So W, it's up to you to decide how you are going to respond to that.
Done. Right. So
this phone is vibrating. It's not mine. Why am I not sitting on it?
All right. So our next comes in from R. R says, "My boyfriend and I are doing a long-distance relationship." And we did a show on long-distance relationships a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
R, we're going to send that over to you.
Yep.
He left 2 months ago, and ever since then, things have been slowly changing, which does happen.
That does happen,
yeah. The sweet names he used to call me are not there anymore. Communication's reduced, and I feel like a nag because I text him too much, and then I get a reply that's a week later. You know, I'm sensing a theme again today, right? Like,
man,
I've said I love you,
on a text?
Say I love you, and he doesn't say it back anymore. So
did he move away to get away from R?
I don't know.
R, I'm wondering what his motives were for moving, because it sounds like he is creating some massive distance, and I say game over to that.
Game over, absolutely. I feel like a little distance has been brought between us, you know, a little gap. This isn't a little gap, this is a huge chasm, all right?
And it's not going to get better.
Is it worth fighting for? So it's a good question. That is the question.
Okay.
So the answer is, it sounds like you are willing to fight for it, but a relationship takes two people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and here's the deal with fighting for it. It's only worth fighting for if you're both willing to fight for it. If one of you's fighting and the other one's fleeing, game over.
Yeah, there's no way to do that. So it sounds like you're still in a relationship that he is long out of. It sounds like you need to join him where he's at, which is
separate.
It's
join
over.
him separately.
Right, but R, you're going to face the same thing as our first request for W.
Yep.
You know, he's going to be back, or he's going to attempt to come back.
Yeah.
And
What's
might
up
be a
with
month.
That?
Ego,
right?
We'll do another show on
Ego,
Boomerang
gentlemen.
Men.
Ego. We do need to do a show on Boomerang Men. They are infuriating.
So, our last advice,
Mr. Orlando, dear Mr. Orlando, I love Jay. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay. Thanks for writing in. I was wondering if you could help me with an issue that my boyfriend and I are having. I told him that I'm struggling to find balance and spending time together. Spending too much time together isn't good. I need to recharge.
Mm-hmm.
I explained that too much time doesn't give us a chance to miss each other.
True.
And I need my own space. Am I unreasonable that I'm pushing him away because he's crowding me?
No.
Is this something I can get some help with?
Yes, absolutely.
So what should she do?
Claim that space? No! Heck no! We're not supposed to be attached to the hip to anyone. That's called codependency.
Absolutely.
But, you know, in a new relationship anyway, you gotta create just kind of set the ground rules. So if you've been spending all your time together and suddenly you're needing space, I can understand his confusion. It's not wrong to want space, though. You're still allowed to ask for that.
Relationships are made up of two individuals. And just because you're in a relationship now doesn't mean that you give up your individuality. You can bring part of yourself to it, but at the end, you still have your own wants, your own needs, your own life, maybe your own career. You want your own space, like you're supposed to have that and own it. So, no.
I have a woman cave, and my husband has a man cave in our own house.
Right.
Just because you're together doesn't mean you got to be together all the time.
What you're describing is somebody who's either clinging, controlling, or both. And
would clinging also equal needy?
Yeah.
Needy, very unattractive.
Very unattractive. But he sounds more controlling. With the rest of her letter, she describes him putting a lot of pressure on her to spend time. And
Game over.
Yeah,
Game over.
You need to have an honest conversation about his insecurities, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And he needs to solve that on his own. You will never be able to coach him or caretake him through his own insecurities. He has to solve that on his own.
And the other thing to watch out for is where else does this kind of behavior show up? Because if it's controlling, it may show up in other areas. If it's neediness, it'll show up in other areas. You got to think about, is that the kind of person you want to be with?
No doubt.
Can you communicate and solve it and fix it? If so, game on.
Well, maybe she's really independent from her
I love that you're independent.
Yeah.
Don't
everybody should be.
for that.
Yeah, no, you're not supposed to. Get your space and talk to him about it.
Yeah. So it's a game on until you figure that out.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that is game over for today. If you have a question, head over to facebook.com/theproblemismen. Click on the message button and we'll get it here. Or you can email your question to gameovertvshow@gmail.com.
Hey, and we have a juicy topic for tomorrow, too.
Yes, we do.
Tomorrow we are talking about STDs and dating. The do's and don'ts, Well, that's why we're talking about it, so you never have to apologize for needing to talk about it.
Right. STDs tomorrow. That doesn't sound right.
We're dishing on STDs and how to date and all of that good stuff. You know what we're talking about.
We will see you tomorrow.
Bye.